Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Least Trustworthy Banks. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's episode of our show on all your social media to help spread the word. Now, let's get started. A number of banks have gone under over the last few years. They may have loaned too much money to too many high-risk people who were not paying it back, or people who borrowed the bank's money and the investment they participated in collapsed. Or believe it or not, in some cases, the banks were deliberately created for the sole purpose of stealing the money of the people who were customers. That too is a possibility. So, what are the lessons one can learn about where to keep your money so that it doesn't disappear if your bank goes under? We don't recommend individual banks, but we can tell you about what the ultra wealthy do to protect their own wealth in the future and how some of them decide which bank they will use. First of all, most of the ultra wealthy will store their wealth in multiple banks, and some will even put some of their money into overseas banks. Banks like Singapore or Switzerland. That sort of diversification will provide some additional economic safety. Next, they'll store some of their wealth in the banks that their senator or congressman or lobbyists store their money in. Insiders like that may sometimes get warned that the economic disturbance is coming and that they can protect themselves better from what's coming. Another thing that people looking for a safe bank can do is to stay away from the small and mid-sized banks and look for banks with more political gravitas. That means that they're large enough and so well capitalized and politically protected that they won't be allowed to go under. If possible, you want to work with a major bank that doesn't have a lot of loan exposure to commercial buildings or commercial clients. That's because a lot of those loans will not be paid back and will end up really hurting the banks that issue the loans. Residential real estate loans will be much safer. Next, you want to find a bank or banks that don't participate in too many loans that are extremely high risk and politically unstable or unprotected. Some of the banks in Silicon Valley that collapsed did so because they were making loans to people or companies or organizations that other banks would not loan to. That sort of thing is always dangerous and unstable and eventually destroys them. If it wasn't for the government stepping in or raising the amount of protective insurance well above the FDIC limits, then most of those ultra-rich customers would have been sunk and would have been experienced severe economic and existential damage. Another thing you should do is to avoid banks that are routinely being fined hundreds of millions of dollars for knowingly doing business with drug cartels or other illicit groups. You can find out who they are by simply doing Google searches. You'll see their bank names coming up over and over in the news. Next, you'll want to avoid keeping all your wealth in banks that are in your state. You want to diversify across state lines and national borders so as to increase the amount of protection you can benefit from. Also, stop dismissing the idea of investing in gold and Bitcoin. Why is that? Because almost every bank and every financial organization out there that is publicly condemning gold and silver is secretly trying to accumulate as much of that gold, of those assets as possible. Remember to do your own research and don't take anything for granted. And don't just keep your wealth in the same bank you've kept it in for the last 50 years or the same bank that your parents used to use. That's not wise because the world has changed so dramatically. Also, keep checking and reappraising what to do with your wealth and where to keep it. Remember, sometimes the most trustworthy banks are the ones that won't just accept anyone and everyone as a customer because their standards are too high. Banks in Singapore are famous for only accepting customers that they have researched and vetted for safety and appropriateness. And if a bank, foreign or domestic, says they can't accept your business because you're not depositing enough, then run. That is a tremendous lie. We now live in a digital age where you can deposit $1 or two and still technically qualify for banks because moving $1 anywhere is effortless and costs almost nothing. So that's not the real reason they're refusing to accept you. Good luck. Thank you for watching. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on all your social media to help spread the word. Thank you, and we shall talk to you soon. Bye-bye.